Hello beautiful people, Miss Beeching here. In this video we're going to talk about converting between Venn diagrams and two-way tables. This is a pretty quick skill, it's a short and sweet one, but it is really important to help you understand how Venn diagrams and two-way tables work really deeply, and this is the easiest way to do it. This will help you calculate probabilities later on. So let's start with a two-way table, and we're going to talk about the features of it, and then we'll use that to help us draw a Venn diagram. So we're going to pretend that this is a two-way table about people who have Instagram and Facebook and people who do not have Instagram and Facebook. And I'm going to abbreviate them just so that it's a bit quicker to write. And I've already mucked up writing. Doesn't have Insta. And then on this side, we're going to have has Facebook and doesn't have Facebook. And of course, these parts down the bottom are our totals. Sometimes I don't bother writing the total, you don't have to, but it does make it a bit clearer for the person reading it to understand what's going on. Okay, and we're going to make up some numbers. Woo, some very chunky numbers. We're going to make up some numbers here in this imaginary group of people. And we're going to say this is how many are in each group. Now, of course, the ones on the totals we get by adding up the columns and the rows, and then the final amount we can add up here. Okay, so here's our two-way table. Let's quickly whack together a Venn diagram and talk about how they relate to each other. So if we've got our super neat, ultra organized, amazing Venn diagram here, and we say, okay, this is people who have Instagram, this is people who have Facebook. Now we need to go from having these numbers on the two-way table to having the numbers on the Venn diagram. So we need to think about what parts of each diagram relate to each other. So we're going to do a bit of highlighting. And we think, okay, well, this part in the middle is the part where people like Instagram and they like Facebook at the same time. And if we think about our two-way table, that's this part here, because it's people who have Instagram and people who have Facebook. So that means that a big 21 goes here in the middle. For this section of the Venn diagram, this is people who have Instagram, but they don't have Facebook because they're not part of that Facebook circle. So again, we go to our two-way table and think, all right, what are the people who have Instagram but don't have Facebook? Have Instagram, don't have Facebook. So that's this part here. So we're going to put a 32 in that section. Okay, next part. This part over here, and it's kind of the same but opposite. So this is people who have Facebook but don't have Instagram. So we go, okay, have Facebook, don't have Instagram, that's this one here. So we're going to write a 10 in that section of the Venn diagram. And you might think, whoa, we're done. But no, wait, we're missing one number. We're missing the part that belongs to the outside of the Venn diagram, the people who don't have Instagram and they don't have Facebook. And again, we just look at our table, don't have Insta, don't have Facebook, so that's this number here. So there's 7 people outside on the edge of the Venn diagram. And that's it. That's converting from a two-way table to a Venn diagram. If you're feeling pretty confident with that, you can jump straight into the questions. I'm going to quickly show you the reverse process from a Venn diagram into a two-way table. Some people find that part a bit trickier because there are some extra numbers. Okay, so we've got a Venn diagram here. This is my opportunity to make fun of teen angsty shows, which I enjoy watching, but here we've got a Venn diagram. Let's say this is like characters in a vampire werewolf show, and there's a few numbers here. There's 12 people who are vampires but not werewolves. There's 2 characters who are both at once. Oh my gosh. And there's 17 people who are werewolves, not vampires. And there's only one character left in the show who is neither, because everybody always ends up being at least one of them in these shows, I think. So let's put vampires up here. And then we're going to say not vampires here. Okay, and we're going to put werewolf and not werewolf. Okay, and we're going to put total. Again, you don't have to write total, it just makes it a bit clearer. And let's start filling it in. So let's start with this 12. This is this section of the Venn diagram. So that is the people who are vampires, but not werewolves. So if we go vampire, not werewolf, that's this section here. So we're going to write a 12 in there. Okay, let's go to the middle section. So these are people who are vampires and werewolves at the same time. Bit of a crazy idea. I'm sure it's happened though. So that would be this section here. So we're going to write 2 there. And then we go to this section. These are the people who are not vampires, but they are werewolves. So not vampires, but they are werewolves. So that's this part here. So there's 17 in that category. And then there's this lonely one person who is not a vampire and is not a werewolf. And you think, oh, cool, so we're done, right? Oop, no, not quite yet. So Venn diagrams actually have a little bit less information done for you than a two-way table does. A Venn diagram, you can work out the totals by adding them, but they're not there automatically. So we need to do a bit of adding before we can finish this off. So we're going to add vertically down each of these columns first. You could do the rows first if you prefer. So I'm going to go 2 plus 12, so that's 14. 17 plus 1, that's 18. And now we're going to go across. And then we're going to double check that our numbers are right and that Miss Beeching can add at 8:15. So 2 plus 17, that's 19. 12 plus 1, that's 13. So both these two should add up to this number, and these two should also add up to that number. So if we go 14 plus 18, what we get? 32. And if we think about 19 plus 13, that also equals 32. So hooray, we have a working two-way table, and that's it. That's the skill. If you have any questions, ask your teacher. Otherwise, good luck and see you next time.